Hey folks, welcome back to Max Nave Horsemanship and Baby Steps, where we work with a baby and we take baby steps, because that is the best way to do things. And well, I was actually just thinking today after I went for a drive, how horsemanship and driving actually can be very similar, because one of the roads that I travel on out here, well, right now it's not in very good condition. It's very icy with a little snow over top, and it's not good at all. And I've seen several tracks along the way there, cars going off into the ditch and that sort of thing. And well, what's that got to do with training? Because we approach things very similar. Now when I see conditions like that, well, I don't want to be one of those guys in the ditch, so I'm going to drive real slow and make no fast moves. And that's exactly what you're going to do when you're training. Whether it's an adult horse or a baby, just go slow and don't make any sudden moves. And you'll do a lot better. Like I said, it's a lot like driving in bad conditions. And well, because we want to err on the side of caution, that's what we're going to do. Yesterday, I did a fairly short video, comparatively. And I said, well, I'm just going to keep doing the same things over and over. Well, as it turned out, I ended up doing some things that I realized after the fact that I haven't showed you. Because there were things that I did out in the pasture, and well, we didn't have the camera out with us, and I didn't get a chance to show you, but I did work on it in here yesterday, and it occurred to me after I'd done it that, well, hey, there's actually several things I did yesterday that I can show you, and I'm going to do that. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go get my lead and halter, and I'm going to show you what we were up to. Frequently walk around with a lead and halter around my neck like this, and well, as I've mentioned earlier, this little one here, she's a little wary about ropes. She's not crazy about being haltered either. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to work on that stuff. Now, what happened was, she's actually been not bad when it came to catching her and that sort of thing, but she's kind of figured out that even though she's not scared of this rope anymore, she's kind of figured out that as soon as it comes off my neck like this, I'm probably going to put it on her. And well, she doesn't want that, so she starts moving away from me to make it difficult to put it on her. Now, what I did yesterday, in order to work on that a little bit, is something that is very similar to catching. Now, actually, there's two parts to this. One was actually catching, and one was getting the halter on her. So there's two things we were working on at the same time. With just this, and this is you're gonna have this anyhow. So you already got your training tool right here in your hand. So I'm going to show you what we were doing. Come on, come. Don't want to? Okay. Now this is an approach I used for catching, or more correctly, teaching a horse to be caught. Is if the horse doesn't want to come to you. She is paying attention, but she's not coming to me. So I'm going to put pressure on her. Now this is what I happen to already have in my hand. This is what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to swing it around enough that it makes a little noise and slap the ground with it. And right away she takes a step towards me. And as soon as she does that, I'm going to stop. And she's still slowly working her way towards me. She stopped, she's sniffing the ground. I'm going to do this again. Now she's paying attention again and taking another step. She stopped. I'm going to do it again. And this is what you do. Now the horse might move around a whole lot more than this. And she is at the point where we can do this now. I couldn't have done this before. This particular technique that I've used in the past quite successfully for catching horses. Well, what we're going to do now is, well, hopefully she stays in camera, but we're going to move in on her. And if she doesn't come to me, I'm coming to her. Yeah, and away she goes. Okay. Now this is what I wanted to show you. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm just going to follow her around from a distance, and I'm watching her head. And if she turns to me, I'm going to stop doing this. She's going to keep moving. She's going fairly straight today. girl. She turned into me. Very good. Now I'm going to approach her. I'm going to come up on the side of her here. And, well, my goal is to put the rope over her. And today she's actually, looks like she might not do what she's been doing very good. Because previously, every time I pulled this rope out, she moved. And I just repeated that same process that you just saw. As soon as she stepped away, I'd just start swinging the rope. As soon as she started turning into me, I'd stop and back off a little. Exact same principle you use for catching a horse. Oh, she's moving again. I'm going to put pressure on her. See? That's good. I'm glad she did this because we get to show you what we're doing. Come on, keep going. Okay, she's turning into me. She's already got this figured out because we did it a little bit yesterday. We didn't do it a whole lot, by the way. You know, sometimes the horse catches on to this pretty darn quick. And I've actually only had one that did not respond to this particular method. Now, for this, you can use your lunge whip. You can use your stick and string or whatever to teach the horse to be caught. Because I'm going to be using the halter and lead on her anyhow, and this is what I got in my hand, I don't want to carry anything else, so this is what I'm going to use, and it works. And I've done this a few times with other horses, particularly out in the pasture, because I don't want to be carrying my flag around with me out in the pasture, that sort of thing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the halter ready. I'm holding it in position so that I can just slip it over her nose. But I still got my hand on this end because I'm going to walk up beside her again and see if she's going to stand still for me. And they're very good. Now I'm just going to slip the rope over and she's going to figure out, don't mean nothing. She's already, that makes her a little nervous. She's still not 100% with these ropes. And occasionally she will turn her head around and nip at the end of it that's hanging down by her side. She's a little concerned. She's coming to me for comfort because she's a little worried about this stuff. And I'm just going to do this a couple times. There we go. She did what she did yesterday. When the rope goes over, she grabs the end of it and bites it. Then she realizes, well, I guess it's not too much to worry about. I can bite it and nothing happens. So maybe we don't need to worry about this rope. There, she stopped biting at it. Now I'm just going to take the rope away and walk away. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to actually catch her. Because I want her to get to know that when this rope comes out, it doesn't mean I'm going to catch her. This is what we're trying to instill in her brain, is that this halter and this rope don't mean anything. They're just things I carry around all the time. And, you know, well, for the most part, she's pretty good with them, as long as they stay around my neck. As soon as I take them off, she's got an issue with them. So we're going to do this again. I'm going to walk over to her, and I'm going to see if I can throw this rope over her again. Now again, I still got the halter in hand, because I'm going to get to that one in a minute, because we're going to show you what to do about putting a halter on to get them a little better with that. Now, we can get a halter on her. Takes a little patience. We can get a halter on her without too much trouble. But she's a little resistant to it. She'll kind of turn her head away and try to avoid it. But I don't want her doing that. That just makes my life more difficult. Well, it'll make your life more difficult too. So that's one of those things you want to fix. We're going to work on that one. Now, she's looking the other way. That's not good. But I'm just going to walk up beside her. And I'm going to rub on her a little bit. I'm going to throw the rope over her. And she's right away going to go, what the heck's that thing doing on my side? And she's going to bite at it. And I'll talk about the biting thing in a minute, because that is something that is important. In this particular case, we're going to let her get away with it, because she's just exploring this thing hanging down on the offside that is a little weird. Yeah, good girl. Yes, you are. And we're just going to keep doing this. Well, again, she's got a little concern about this rope. She's still not 100% with it yet, but, you know, she's getting better. You know, she's not going anywhere. She's still got to take a bite at it. This is almost funny that she does this, but it's not overly concerning. Oh, she's moving. So now we're going to put the pressure on again. She stops right away. Oh, moved again. We're good. Oh, okay. Away you go. Away you go. said, I got enough of this. So hopefully we're still on camera here. Now she's turned to me and she's going away from me. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm busy talking to you, so sometimes I'm going to mess up on this because I'm not paying enough attention to her. Very good. She stopped and turned into me. That's what I wanted. So now I'm going to approach her again with the rope. Oh, away she goes. Guess what happens when she goes away? The pressure goes on. And we're going to keep doing this. And I'm kind of glad she's doing this. Oh, she turned into me. We're going to stop doing it. Maybe take a step back. That's always one of those things you can do, is take a step back. Good girl. I'm just going to walk over to her. Casually. Rub on her. Tell her she's a good girl. Because she is. She's a good girl. And then we're going to throw the rope over again. And it's way up there now. She can't reach it. There. Put her down where she can reach it. I don't care. She's having fun with it. I'm just going to throw it over again. And eventually she's going to get used to this, because this is kind of part of the desensitizing too. This is one of the things that we do in desensitizing, is throwing the rope over. Now she's getting really good about this. She's standing still for me. She's not biting at the rope, so I'm just going to put it around her neck. Now I got something to hang on to. She's very good this way. I can just hang on to it. In fact, I think I'm going to bring her a little closer to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Come on, dear. Okay, we're a little closer. You got a better view now. You can see what we're doing. Now I'm just going to hang on to this for now. And it's not tied or anything. It's just in my hand. You know, we need to use any more force than that. Well, we're not going to go that route. We want to make it her idea to come to me and be with me. And if she moves away, I'm going to let her. And then I'm going to swing the rope just like I did before. But now we're going to try to put a halter on. Now this has been a problem in the past, occasionally. Not always. Sometimes she's not bad, but last little while she's been getting a bit of an attitude with me. Or I don't want that thing on me. And kind of with good reason. But I'm going to show you what we're doing. Because I'm going to bring it up. Now you see she's turning her head away already? Guess what? The halter's not going away. It's going to keep coming. And look at that. She turned her head right around. And I'm just going to keep coming. Now I'm touching her nose. And when she brings her head back, this might take a minute. Okay, it's starting to come back. Good girl. Good girl. Now that it's straight, the halter goes away. I'm not even going to put it on her. See that? I didn't even put the halter on her. But this is how we make her better with the halter. Now, I'm going to do this exact same thing again. I did this a couple times yesterday and she got better. Still not good, but she got better. So, yeah, head's moving away. She's avoiding the halter. I'm just going to keep coming. There we go. Good girl. There we go. And take it away. She came back to center, relaxed. So, that's the trick. If you want the halter to go away, just relax. Chill out. Stop being a jerk. I'm going to see what we do again here. Repeat this several times. She's not as bad. There we go. Look at that. Much better already. That was just 3 times today. And we only did this maybe half a dozen times yesterday too. But this is something I really wanted to show you. That, because I know darn well you're going to have problems. Some horses are okay, but others can be extremely difficult. But what we're doing here is we're just getting used to this halter so that when we go to put it on, we don't have to get into a fight with her. See? The halter touching her nose does not mean we're putting it on. I am going to put it on in a minute though, because I actually do want to show you something else that we worked on yesterday that I do not believe that we've shown you yet. Well, at least not in detail. Here we go again. She's still a little resistant. The head's still, yeah, there we go. Head's turning away. That's okay. It's important that the halter doesn't go away until she comes back to where she's supposed to be, like there. Now the halter goes away. But she does not get to make the halter go away by avoiding it. It's a very important thing that when this halter comes in like this, that she has to let it touch her. Just like that. Very good. Now we'll take it away. And we're going to repeat that quite a few times, and as many as it takes until she gets very good about it. In extreme cases, the horse might even stick its nose in there for you when you hold it up. I've seen it happen. It's not common, but it can happen. Now we're just going to repeat the process again. Look at that. This time she did not try avoiding the halter. She let me put it on her. And the rope around her neck, I'm just kind of holding it loose. If she turns her head away, I will put a tiny bit of pressure on it. Not a lot, but a little bit, just to give her the idea that avoiding makes things worse. There we go. Beautiful. She's getting much better already. She's still sort of kind of avoiding it, but so we're going to keep doing it because she's still kind of head up, down, side to side a little bit. Not extreme, not as bad as she was, but she's still trying to figure out if there's a way to avoid this thing. There we go. Lovely. And the fact that she's lowering her head, I don't mind that. That is actually a little bit of an avoidance. But if she gets in the habit of dropping her head when you're trying to put the halter on, like that, that's okay. Because when she gets a little bigger and taller, and if you're not very tall, the last thing you want is that horse's head going up in the air when you're trying to put a halter on. If it drops its head, that makes your life a lot easier. So we're going to do that and encourage it. She's turning away a little bit. Well, head goes down, centered, halter goes away. Simple as that. Nothing fancy there. No big tricks or secrets. But you just saw real-time progress that you can make. And I'm just going to bring it over. Look at that. See that? No avoidance at all. Very good. So I'm actually going to put this on her now, and I'll come back and show you a few other things. Well, apparently I just lost my little windsock off my microphone, so wind noise might get a little worse because it is a little breezy today. It's actually a half decent day. It's just slightly below freezing, but there's enough of a wind that makes a difference. It doesn't make it real nice, which is why the hood's up. I like to keep the wind off my neck. Makes a big difference. I can spend, if I'm dressed properly, I can spend a couple hours out here, no problem. It's one of the things that I encourage you. Think ahead when you're planning on being out with the horse, and dress appropriately, because otherwise you're going to get cold in a hurry. So anyhow, one of the things we're working on it is with leading. Now, what I'm using here, I actually prefer doing this with my longer lead, but a lot of you don't have one. You just have an ordinary 10-foot lead, and that's what this is, just an ordinary 10-foot lead that quite often comes with the halter when you buy it. I think I actually bought this one separately. I don't know. I don't remember. It's not important. It's your standard leads come either 6 or 10-foot lengths. 6 are pretty much useless as far as I'm concerned. If you happen to have one, well, you can use it for leading a horse around, I guess, but for training purposes, they're completely useless. I'm going to get into something that I'm going to put my longer one on for later, but because you kind of have to have it for that. But for just leading her around and working on some leading, this short one is going to do the trick. It's not ideal. I'd prefer to do this with my longer one, but this is going to work. Now I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have the end of it in my right hand, and I'm going to lead her with my left hand. Now just pay attention to what I'm doing here. When I move forward, she moves forward. When I stop, she stops. One of the things that'll be a problem, she's not real bad for this, is the horse will try cutting you off when you're turning. And I'll show you what you do. If I decide I'm going to turn this direction, and she tries to anticipate the direction I'm going, and cuts me off and doesn't stay behind, which she's actually doing good today. I'm just going to keep doing this. And back and forth. This is how you train. Just keep repetitious over and over and over. Now, I don't like where she is. She should be behind me. So this is where I'm going to start spinning my lead. She's a little concerned about that. There. She goes behind me. I stop doing it. Now, again, we're going to be going forward, and we're going to stop. And she stops. pretty good. I'm going to go forward a little more. And stop. And she stops. This is excellent. Now I want to back up. And I want the horse to back up too. And this is where having the lead in my hand ready comes in. Oh, she's already going to do it. I only did this a couple times yesterday and she's already got this figured out. So this is tough because I really want to show you this stuff. Is what you do is, you got your personal space. You got your little circle here. This is yours. The horse has no business in it. And as you can see, she's staying out of it right now. She's back there. She's not in my little circle. But if I want to back up, and she doesn't back up out of my circle, I'm going to start swinging this rope back and forth in my circle. I'm not trying to hit the horse. But did you see how fast she reacted to that? So this time I go forward, and I stop. Now I'm going to bet when I back up, she's going to back up. Because we've done this enough time. The one I just showed you, that was more of a reminder. I just kind of refresher for her. That, this is what happens if you don't back up. Now, this actually serves two purposes, aside from the fact it gets the horse to back up when you back up. That's not as good as I'd like, and I don't want you over there. I want you behind me. Very good. Much better. These are little corrections you have to make, because when you back up, you don't want the horse to go sideways. You want it to go backwards, just like you're doing. So you have to correct the horse. And, like I said, you back up, it backs up. Well, she's going sideways again. I'm going to correct her. Come on. There we go. See, she's still not perfect. You've got to work on this a bit. But it gives you an idea. You get to see what's going on here. And this is just an ordinary rope, ordinary lead rope that I'm using for doing this. But you got, and remember, I'm not trying to hit the horse. I'm swinging this rope around in my space. This is my space. And I can do whatever the heck I want in here. This is my space. And if she happens to be in my space when I back up and gets hit by a rope, well, that's not my fault. That's her fault for being in my space. No, I don't like that over there. Get behind me again, dear. Thank you. That's better. And we're just going to keep doing that. Again, same thing when I'm turning, if she doesn't get out of my way, and like she's doing right now. Oh, no, she got real quick on that one. See how fast? Oh, she's too far over. I want her behind me. I don't want her beside me. I want her behind me. Perfect. I'm going to go this way. See what happens. Now, see how she gets around behind me now. I can turn that direction. And look where her tail end is. Nowhere near me. Now I'm going to turn the other direction. And she tried cutting me off a little bit, so I'm just going to spin the lead a little. And that's going to get her out of my space. That's not it. She's a little too far over. I don't like that. I'm going to come over this way. I'm going to turn around as soon as I see her go that direction. And she corrected herself and got her butt out of my way. That's how easy it is. There's nothing complicated about this stuff. If the horse is too close, just give your lead a spin. That's it. If you want to back up, just spin it around yourself. Remember, you're not trying to hit the horse with it. You're just doing what some guys will refer to as clearing your space. Now I'm going to back up, and she's going to back up because the stupid rope is here. And, well, it's my space. I can do what I want with it. And I can spin the rope around all I want. So I just thought to share a couple of things with you that we were working on yesterday. Now I'm going to try another one today that I have not done. And, oh, I forgot to tell you. Two purposes of this. Two purposes. First off, the horse backs up when you back up. You want that. Much safer if your horse backs up when you back up. A lot more convenient too. If you decide you got to take a step or two back to open a gate, you want the horse to immediately back out of your way. Very good. She does lovely sometimes. And the other thing about that is they pay attention. They learn to pay attention because I don't have to swing the lead to get her attention. All I have to do is take a step back and she starts backing up. That's not quite as good as I'd like, but it's a little too close. We'll work on it some more. But you get the idea. In order to not get this lead swinging and potentially hitting her, all she has to do is pay attention and then back up when you back up. And that's so you're accomplishing two things. You're getting the horse to back up and you're getting it to pay attention at the same time. And they're both very important things. You want both of those things happening. And just by teaching a horse to back up while you're leading is one of those things you can do. And I never did, I don't think I talked about the leading thing a whole lot before. I may have done it a little bit, but she gets a little fussy. She don't like this halter on her. Clearly not, but that's okay. Well, I'm going to change leads and I'm going to show you something else and we'll see how that works with her because she's still a little iffy about ropes touching her in certain places, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work out. But, you know, it's one of those things. You got to try it and see, and if it doesn't work well, then you go back to doing something a little different, or just go ahead to doing something different. Well, whatever, you know, you improvise, you make things up as you go. And remember, all of these methods and techniques that I'm using, the principles behind them are fairly common to what other people do, a lot of other people, and you know, so you can use the concepts. You don't have to do it exactly like I do it, though. You know, you can make it up so it works for you and your horse, in your situation. Because I've said many times before in my demos, this is what I am doing in this situation with this horse. Now, there's a lot of variables there, so you might do it a little bit different. But, you know, I'm giving you some ideas and some basic principles that you're trying to accomplish, which is I don't want her thinking the rope means I'm going to catch her. And I don't want to think the halter is going on every time. But sometimes it is, and I want to make it a lot easier. So all the stuff I've shown you today so far, I have already done a couple times, and I'm going to do them a whole lot more. Like I said, everything you do with your horse, you don't solve a problem in one event. It's an ongoing process that, honestly, it can take you years. It can take years. It really can, to produce a very good horse. Starting with them young, not a big deal, though, because it's going to be years before we ride her. You know, because she's not even a yearling yet, so there's lots of things we can do. And this just teaches the horse, you know, starting it young like this, it just makes it easier and safer to handle and be around, and you can do all kinds of stuff that, you know, things you just want to be able to do. You know, one of the things we're working up to is being able to worm her and have her feet trimmed, and in time, that's going to come around too, and we'll show you how that's going to work. We haven't done a whole lot on that front yet. I say yet, we're getting there, because we decided that we're going to do some other stuff first just because of her. You always have to be able to adapt a little bit, you know, change things up just a little bit. There is a basic order to doing things, but, you know, not an exact one, and sometimes you can change it around a little bit. So I'm going to go get another lead, and I'm going to try something else with her that I have not done before. Back with you in a minute. Got a different lead. Now, one of the things about this one you'll notice is it's quite a bit longer. And this one here, I believe, is about 18 feet. And I purchased it at a store that has nothing to do with horses, that happens to sell rope by the foot. And it cost me $1 a foot. So $18. Not a big investment. Something that you might want to consider, because it's not a huge investment. And this is also another one of the reasons I like rope halters, is because you'll notice on the end of this one, no clip. It's just tied on, And you can't do that with a web halter. You can't tie onto a web halter. I'm sure if you thought about it long enough, maybe there's a way of doing it, but it's relatively easy to do on a rope halter. This knot here is actually the exact same as the one on the side of it, except upside down. And as simple as that little knot looks, you could tow a car with it, and it's not going to be a problem. Now, what we're going to do with this one here, and like I said, I have no idea how this is going to work, because she's still a little bit sketchy about ropes. So let's see what happens. I don't know. See, one of the things I like to do, and it just helps with the feel of get them used to the halter, is you take the rope, pass it around to the off side. Now, she's a little sketchy about ropes on a good day, so I'm a little concerned how this is going to work. Because what I like to do is gently slide it over until it's around her backside, and she's already getting a little concerned about this. She goes, what the heck is going on? And this is also one of the reasons you like a longer lead, because it keeps you at a little bit safer distance in case the horse decides to kick at this rope. I'm going to try and get it down behind her carefully. And you see how she just turned around? That's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. And at the same time, have her get used to ropes around her backside. It's kind of a dual purpose thing, is she gets sensitive to the lead, because basically when the rope wraps around, no, I didn't ask you to move, dear. No, I didn't ask you to move, sweetie. Good girl. She is really concerned about this thing. She doesn't like it. So I'm thinking this whole thing is not going to go well. I might have to put this off until we've done a little bit more desensitizing with the ropes, because she's still not that good with it. And I don't want to stress her out. I mean, I could probably continue on with this and accomplish what I want, but it might not be good for her. You always got to consider that stuff. What is best for the horse? Because we're not trying to freak her out. We're trying to build confidence. We're not trying to get her all worried. But I am going to try something here a little bit. Now, again, ropes on her. That's okay. She'll get used to this stuff. But I'm not going to go right around her backside. But what I am going to do is I'm going to see if I can get her to turn around just doing this. Now, she's going to feel pressure on the halter. Head's turning. I'm just going to stay beside her like this and see what happens. I got a funny feeling she's going to just have a meltdown here in a minute. There we go. Beautiful. That was exactly what I wanted. And I don't know if you saw that, if we were off the camera a bit, but I just put the halter on, put the lead going around her neck. Normally, what I'm doing here, I would go right around her backside to do this, but I found out this is actually working not bad with her. Just putting it around her neck like this. Now it's on the other side, and I'm going to just gently pull on it, and let's see if we can, what happens here. Hope she doesn't go too far off that way again. Okay, the head's turning. Sorry folks if I go off this way. Oh, no, that's not what you do. No, dear. Well, she's leading with it like this. Okay, cool. Not what I want. Not what I want at all. Let's see what happens, though. If we put a little more pressure on like that. And as you can see, there we go. Now, that's exactly what we wanted. Normally, what I would do is I'd actually wrap it right around her backside when I do that. And that way she gets used to ropes around her back end. And even though, it's easy to get a horse to turn towards you, that actually encourages her to turn the opposite direction. So she's not just conveniently coming to me because she wants to. She's following the cues that I'm giving her on that halter that says you go the other way. And that's what she's doing. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. It seems kind of silly to do it, but just remember, all these little things that improve the sensitivity of the horse to the lead is also going to improve the sensitivity of the horse to your reins when you eventually do ride it. So this is not wasted time you're doing here. And something else that I'm going to try with this little horse too, I haven't tried yet. I'm going to see if she'll flex. You've probably heard of that one. And a lot of people tend to do it from the saddle. I think it's smart to do it from the ground. It's not only easier, it's safer. And, well, that way you've already got an emergency brake installed when you do get in the saddle, so that if you have to turn the head, you got that there. So we're going to try this. Let's just see what happens here. And, I don't want her moving, so I'm just going to go with her. And this might take a while. I did a video on this a while ago. I did it with the heck was that? A thoroughbred, off-the-track thoroughbred I did this with. And I demonstrated, and yeah, sometimes you're going to have to go around in circles for a while. This might take a while. The very first time. Good girl. Now, I'm just trying to get her to turn her head without moving her body. That's all we're trying to do. And she doesn't understand this yet. So this is going to take a while. She's getting the idea, though. She's responding. There we go. Beautiful. She gave her head to the lead without moving her body. Did you see that? It was just one little flick of the head, but it was a start. That's where you start. You know, and sometimes you take what you can get at the beginning. You know, if you're trying to get your horse to move one way or the other, if it takes one step in the right direction, give it release. You got what you wanted. You didn't, you know, you're not going to start off by having to move 10 steps. You're going to start off with one step. And since they got 4 legs, that might only mean moving 1 foot. But that's what you take. You take what you can get. And if, well, you saw how little we got, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to do it again. Oh, she's almost there. She's almost there. She's still moving the body, but she is moving the head. What a good girl. They're getting the hang of it. Now, I'm probably confusing her a little bit too, because one of the things we also do is disengaging her. And that's what she's doing for me. She's disengaging. Oh, that's not a disengage. Oh, almost had it there, dear. You almost had it. What a good little horse. You're gonna get bored watching me going around in circles. Maybe I'm gonna make you dizzy. It's making me dizzy. I wish she'd actually stop soon. But this is something that, you know, she hasn't quite figured out yet. And she's a little concerned about this because, you know, she doesn't understand. That's okay. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, no. Going off camera here. I'm going to lead her back over. I don't want to go off camera. I want you to actually see what we're doing. But she was backing up. And I want you to be able to see what we're doing. Good girl. Yeah, that's a good horse. Yeah. No, just turn the head. Just the head. Just the head, dear. Well, I'm going to have to bring her back over again. This is terrible. It's not going as well as I'd hoped, but it's not terrible. And I think if I'm smart, I'll start over here because she seems to always want to go that same direction. So we're going to just... I don't want her backing up. There we go. Oh, almost. Almost had it. In advanced stages, there we go. Good girl. Oh, I don't want you moving. I didn't ask you to move. I'm not going to bring her back over again. Gonna try and keep her in the middle of the camera, but she keeps going that same direction all the time. I'm not sure why she's preferring that direction, but she is going that direction. Okay, around we go again. And she'll figure it out eventually, because eventually she will stop, and then the pressure will go away. In the meantime, it's very light. I just got the lead sitting over my thumb. Good girl. Oh, I didn't actually... That was not right. That was bad timing on my part. This is one of the few times that timing is kind of important, because I got to release when she's not moving. And I actually released just as she decided she was going to move her back in again. And don't be surprised if you have to do this with your horse. Good girl. No. Not what we want. But you see, she's still responding to the lead. Just not the way I want her to. There we go. Oh. Again, I messed up. You'll make mistakes too, trust me. Now we're going to see if she will turn her head without turning her body. No, body's moving. So we just got to keep going with her until she moves just the head without the body. Good girl. Easy there, girl. Just relax. There we go. There we go. Good girl. Now I'm going to give her a release. She didn't move her head very much, but she didn't move her body. And that was important, because I want her to turn her head without turning her body. And this is going to take a long time. This is one of those things that, you might be at this for 15 minutes before your horse stops going in circles. Maybe 20 minutes, I don't know. I have had a few times where it took a while. Sometimes you only got to go around maybe 3-4 times and the horse figures it out. Depending how old they are. She's quite young, very inexperienced with the halter, and I have been doing a few other things with her that she's just learning. So she's kind of getting the different things confused. So, again, and one of the things you can do to keep a steady pressure on is just put your hand on the shoulder of the horse. And that way you will hold a steady pressure on the halter. If you have an older horse that's saddled, you can still do the same thing. Just take your hand, set it up on the corner of the saddle. That way, when you go with it, you don't change how much pressure you're putting on the horse to get its head turned. Oh, that was beautiful. She did that very well. Very good. Very, very good. That's 3 times now she's turned her head without moving her body. Look at that. She just did it again. I'll give her a release. I'm barely even cueing her here. Good girl. There we go. It's not perfect. Ideally, you want her head a lot further around than that, but it's a beginning, and you take what you can get. This is what I've said before. So, what a sweet little horse. And, again, your horse probably isn't going to be as good as this one even. And even though you just saw me going around in circles for quite a while, you might go around in circles for a lot longer than that. I have also gone around in circles a lot less than that, too. It can happen either way. Oh, much better. Look at that. Beautiful. She's getting much more sensitive to it. Oh, no, she's moving. There we go. Good girl. She's getting it figured out now. Still wants to move every once in a while. She's already anticipating. And I'm being extremely light on this lead. See this? Oh, what a good little horse. What a good little girl. She's a very sensitive little horse. She responds very nice. Now, that's only one side. I'm going to have to do the same thing on the other side. And you're thinking, well, she's she's already got real good on that side. The other side shouldn't be a problem now. No, because she's never done it on the other side. It's a completely new experience to her. And I've mentioned this before, what you do on one side, you must do on the other side. And it's like a completely new thing to them because they don't have the left-right connection in the brain that humans do. So when they learn something from one side, you must do it again on the other side. And that's what we're going to do. And I apologize if you don't really want to see it. No, I'm not going to do it. Forget it. You're not going to get to see it. But I am going to do the exact same thing on the other side. But you probably really don't want to watch me running around in circles. So I'm not going to do it in front of the camera. But I am going to do it. And I might even see what else we come up with here today, too. Because so far, she's actually doing really good. Leading thing, I demonstrated that with an ordinary lead rope. This is the one I actually prefer to use because it's longer. And it's easier to keep the horse at the distance I want and still have lots of lead to swing around. Let's see, right about there. And I'm actually going to take some of it and this is what you do. The surplus lead, you put it in your left hand or whichever hand you're not using to spin the end. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a tangled mess. And when you go to swing it back and forth, lift the lead up a little bit. Otherwise, when you do this, you're probably just going to hit the lead rope. Slowly move over to her side. Well, not super slow. I want her to get used to me doing all kinds of weird stuff. Now I'm just going to gently pick up this lead and see she's turning her head without moving her body. That is exactly what you want to achieve. And eventually, that becomes your emergency brakes too when you're riding, because if the horse will turn its head like that, beautiful, it's going to be responsive to the reins. And what happens is if you can get the head turned, even if the horse gets a little nervous and takes off on you, with its head turned, it's most likely just going to do circles. And if you can make them small enough, that's too much work. They'd rather just stop. So this is your emergency brake. You get the horse to turn sharp circles, eventually it decides, I don't want to do that anymore, and it comes to a stop. And I've actually demonstrated that from the saddle in the previous videos, how that works. It's very simple. And when you do a first ride on her, which that could be a few years from now, if I'm still around at that time, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'll probably show you how that works then. Because we're probably going to do the first ride in here. And you're going to get to see, I'll set up the camera just like I'm doing right now. And you'll get to see exactly what we're doing. Because once we get the saddle on, we get to that point, there's a few more things that I'm going to want to do that I'm going to want to show you. Well, maybe if I get lucky, I'll get another adult horse to work with that kind of needs some handling, and I'll get to show you that stuff before then. And there's a few things leading up to that I can show you as well. And I think we can maybe even do them in this round pen, because the way the rails are constructed, I think I can stand up on the rails. One of the things I like to do is bring a horse trailer in, stand on the fender, because nice big platform to stand on, and there's usually bars in the windows you can hang on to. So you can have one foot on the fender, hang on to the bar, slide your other leg over the horse, and if the horse freaks out and takes off on you, well, guess what? You're still hanging on to the bar and standing on the fender. Real simple. Lots of little things you can do. And you can do that same thing on, tailgate of a pickup truck or whatever is handy. You can do things like that. Now I want to talk a little bit about the biting thing. Now, I let you see it earlier where I'd throw the rope over and she'd bite at it. I didn't do anything about it at that point because that's just her way of dealing with things. But you don't want biting to become a habit. And for a couple of reasons. Very unusual for a little filly to do it. Geldings, young geldings, it's more of a boy thing. They're really bad for the biting stuff. But it's kind of like a human toddler. It's how they explore. Everything goes in the mouth. That's what little toddlers do. You ever seen a little toddler? Yeah, everything goes in the mouth. Everything. That's how they explore the world. Well, they do that too. But unfortunately, because of the teeth they got and how hard they can bite, can be a lot worse. Now, she was, I don't mind her getting social like that, but I don't like her sticking her nose on me, so I just tapped it with a finger. That's discipline. That's it. And that's about all I'll ever do with her, too. But I don't want that nose on me because that leads to biting. My hand, my fingers, my arm, whatever. And if that becomes a habit, it can be dangerous because they can bite pretty hard. I have been bit. I know it. I know how hard they can bite. Very hard. And it hurts. You don't want to get bit. The other thing that happens if they're in the habit of biting everything in sight, next thing you know, they're chewing up your lead ropes, chewing up your halters, and there's always a risk of not only you getting hurt when they bite you, but if they bite other things, they might hurt themselves or damage the object they're biting. So biting is not a habit you want to allow or encourage. And you saw what I did again is that was my little finger. I just give her a little flick of the little finger because the nose was on my hand again. And she doesn't take it personal. See, I can still touch her. She's not scared of my hand. You know, the hand's not a bad thing. Even though it was just information. It said, don't put your nose there. That's all. And this is how you do things. And you don't have to get mad. I've seen people get mad and punch horses, literally, when they bite at them. And, well, I've heard people complain about horses biting, and it can turn into a nasty habit if you do things wrong, and it can get pretty bad. And every time somebody gets bit by a horse, it's like, well, what was its mouth doing that close to your hand? That's kind of the, my thing is that you'll notice what I did a couple of times there. When her nose got near my hand, she got a finger. And she's looking to do it again, but she's keeping her distance. But I dealt with it immediately so that it doesn't become a habit, because we don't want that habit to develop, because it can be very dangerous. It's bad for me. It's bad for the horse. It's bad for anything she bites. So it's one of those things. And it's something that at this age, particularly with the boys, they're really bad for that. You got to do something about it. And again, she put her nose on my hand. I just wiggled my hand a little bit. Oh, look at that. She even took a step back. She's getting serious about this now. She realizes, okay, I better not mess with this guy. I better not get in his face. I better not get too close to him. I better keep my distance. And that's okay. I like that. That's perfect, actually. She's learning now that I can come into her space. She's not allowed to come into mine. This is how it works. And that's how you develop your hierarchy with your horse. Very important stuff. So I think I've given you enough to chew on for the day. Don't let your horse bite. The beginnings of flexing, which has many benefits. Teaches them sensitivity to the halter. Teaches the difference between just turning the head and moving in circles. Very good. She did take a couple steps that time, but you saw how fast she stopped. I didn't have to go around in circles for 5 minutes. Excellent. I also give you a few examples on leading and how to deal with the horse and when you're leading it. And actually, one more thing I didn't mention too, because she's really good about it, is when it comes to leading, if you want the horse to move forward, you put pressure on the halter until it takes a step. Now she's fussing a bit because she don't like this halter, but I'm just going to put a tiny bit of pressure on it. There. And as soon as she takes one step forward, I release. And that way she gets used to the concept of this rope, the feel of that halter moving forward. Says take a step forward, and that's exactly what she's going to do. I'll do it one more time for you. See? That's how you teach your horse to lead. One step at a time. She'll actually follow me very nicely. And we've been working on the back up too. I think I showed you that one where I just wiggle the flag behind me to get her to back up. She's gotten very good now. I can just take one finger on the halter, press backwards. there she go. It's that easy. That didn't take a great deal of time. No fancy tricks or techniques. Just a little patience, and you're going to get the same results. Like I said, your horse ain't going to be like this one. Guaranteed. Might be better. Maybe worse. Might be just different. I've found it kind of interesting the things that she's gotten better at some things, worse at other things. And yesterday she was giving me a little bit of an attitude, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. I know that sounds weird, but you can't fix what's not broke. And by having her give me problems, I can address them. And that's why you embrace mistakes. Don't try preventing mistakes. Let the horse make a mistake, and then it can learn. Because it can't learn a thing if it doesn't make a mistake. And a lot of people are, I don't want you going that direction. No, let the horse go that direction. That's the thing to do. Let the horse go that direction. Then when it goes that direction, then you put pressure on it. Simple as that. Let the horse make a mistake. Don't be a control freak that micromanages the horse in every movement it makes. Allow the horse to do things it's not supposed to do so that you can correct it. Because if it never does anything wrong, the day that it does, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So that's one of those things. And other good horsemen talking about this, where they said embrace mistakes, because they are learning tools. And whether it's the horse or you, either one, if you're making a mistake and you eventually figure out a better way of doing something, that's okay too, because that means you're going to learn something. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. You're human, man. You're going to make mistakes, guaranteed. Excuse me, dear, I didn't ask you to move. I want you over here. This way, I think. There. Right there. Perfect. So, go ahead and make mistakes. You will make mistakes. I guarantee it. And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. What determines good from the bad is whether or not you learn from your mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And whether or not you're any darn good has nothing to do with whether or not you make mistakes. It has to do with whether or not you learn from your mistakes. So if you do something with your horse that doesn't work out just right, timing isn't quite right and stuff like that, there's very, and a lot of people get really upset about the timing thing. And, the example today with the flexing, that's one of the very few where timing is, really critical, where you got to get it just right. A lot of time, the timing is just a case of do or don't. It's that simple. And your timing will improve as you do it more. Just constantly be paying attention to the horse so that you don't miss the opportunities, because, it'll happen. And I've watched even extremely good horsemen. One guy say, oops, I made a mistake. Oops, I missed that. Or, stuff like that in his videos. They're not highly edited. So you actually get to see the mistakes he makes. And I really like that. I appreciate it. I think that's something that a lot of people would appreciate, is to see that the best of the best make mistakes. And when I say best of the best, I'm not talking about me. I'm just mediocre. I'm at best. I'm just like you. And I just happen to have the opportunity to watch a few more videos, read a few more articles, and spend some time with horses. And that's pretty much the only difference between me and you. We're the same. I'm just your average person. I'm nobody special, and I'm showing you what can be done. And it's simply because I've learned this stuff. That's all. It's not that I'm any better than you. It's just I happen to know this stuff. So I'm going to share it with you. So you see the progress we've made so far with this little horse. You don't, at no point have you ever seen me get really rough or forceful with the horse or anything like that. Everything I've done has been very gentle. A lot of my leading and handling of the lead has been with an open hand, so that that actually prevents a few problems too, because that way if the horse freaks out and moves away, go ahead. The lead's going with you. I don't care. It's not a big deal. So anyhow, I think we're going to call her quits there, at least for the video part. I'm probably going to keep on playing with this little horse, although we've done enough today with her, even on camera, that I think we can pretty much call this a session. And so basically what you're getting to see right now is exactly what I've done with her today. And yesterday you didn't get to see me do much, but you've already seen the things that we do, except for a couple things I just showed you today when it comes to the haltering and the rope and that sort of thing. And clearly she's still not real cool with the ropes. She's made significant improvements, but she's still not 100% good with them. So we're going to keep working on that stuff. And like I said, we're going to do stuff over and over and over and over. Just like we did today with the flexing. First time ever I've done that with her. And she's getting the hang of it already. And that's just one side. And eventually we want to get her so that she'll actually turn her head way around without moving her body. And then we're going to move on to the other side, because no matter how you get on one side, you still got to do the other side. Everything. Whether it's the feet, if I pick up the feet on the left side, well, when I go to pick up the feet on the right side, guess what? It's not going to be the same. She's not going to be as good. Occasionally, I have found that it does go a little bit quicker on the second side, because there is some, I don't know, maybe it's just experience in general that says, okay, he's doing something that doesn't hurt me, I'll let him do it. Maybe that's what happens. I don't understand everything. I don't know all the intricacies of what goes on in that head. I have no idea what goes on in that head. I don't think anybody does, but just remember that. So we covered the ropes, the haltering, the leading, flexing, stuff like that. And don't forget the left and right. You must do everything on both sides. Whatever you get her to do on one side, it's like, when I asked her to go around me and I send her off in one direction, she's actually pretty good. Come on. There we go. And you might get your horse this good. But guess what? When you go to do it on the other side, it's not going to be so good if you've never done it. Now, in our case, I've done both sides. So I suspect she's not going to be bad on this other side. And I'm going to step in towards her. I mentioned that before. You never step away from the horse. And she's like, she don't know what's going on here. I'm just going to shorten that a little. There we go. Good girl. And this is where a longer lead is nice too, because I can let it out as she moves around me, and I still got lots in my hand. If I want, I can let it out even further. You see how far she's going now? Actually, I kind of like this. I might do this a little more. I haven't done this before with her. I've actually not even used this lead on her. When I stop putting pressure on her, she stops moving. Simple as that. So anyhow, just remember, got to do both sides. Okay, I'm going to let you go now, and I think I'm just going to lead her back over to the other horses where she lives, and she kind of enjoys being. And we're going to call it a day, because I think we've made some pretty decent progress today. I'm actually pretty happy. We worked a little more on some things. You saw some improvements in that haltering, and she was far worse yesterday, trust me. So she made improvements yesterday. She made even more today, and that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to keep repeating things over and over, and each time they're going to get that much better, just a tiny bit, but still progress. And you're probably going to have to do it many more times. So I'm not going to bore you with that stuff, but like I said, I think today is enough. I think we're going to call her quits. She's just a young'un. We don't need to make her go crazy. Oh, and when I say you got to do things 100 times, not all at once, please. Don't ever think that. There's stuff we're going to have to do with her 100 times, but we're probably only going to do them 10 times at a time. But we might have to do it 10 times to make 100. But that's actually not a lot. That's only doing it 10 times in each session for 10 days, and you've got 100. That actually isn't a whole lot, really, if you think about it that way. So You know what? Maybe we're going to be doing them a couple hundred. Yeah, might have to. I don't know. I don't count things sometimes. I don't keep track of time. I'm really bad for that kind of stuff because when I'm with the horse, all that stuff kind of becomes irrelevant. I just look at the progress we make and the time we spend together and all of that stuff. It just, it either works or it doesn't. And, well, you see what we're getting. We're making progress, and that's what you want. And whether you take a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years, I don't care. You take as long as you need, and every horse is different. I've had horses, my own personal horses too. I had taught them all the same things because I did a lot of liberty work with them. And the one horse took a week to teach him a certain thing, doing it every day. Another one, I taught her the same thing in about 5 minutes. Just different horses. But they both did the exact same thing. But that's how different the two of them were. They were both great horses. There weren't nothing wrong with them. I can't say the one was way worse than the other or anything. But one took a week to teach it something, and the other one took 5 minutes. And that's exactly the kind of thing that you're going to be up against. You may end up taking 5 minutes. You may end up taking 5 months. And I don't really care which. It doesn't matter. It takes what it takes. A lot of people like to ask, how long does it take to do something? Well, you're getting to see. And this is just one example. And the correct answer to how long does it take is it takes as long as it takes. That's the correct answer. Because no two horses are alike. No two trainers are alike. No two situations are alike. You get it? It's going to take you as long as it takes you, and it doesn't mean that you're inadequate. It's not about you anyhow. It's about the horse. And it doesn't mean that you're inadequate if it takes a long time. It just means you have a challenging horse. And it might require a lot more patience and take a lot more time. It's not a bad thing. Anyhow, I'm going to go put her back with the other horses now and call it a day. I'm going to go back inside, although that sun feels pretty darn good as long as the wind isn't in my face. It's actually a pretty nice day out here. Temperatures aren't ridiculous. If it wasn't for that wind, man, it'd be a real nice day out here. Anyhow, take care. Enjoy yourselves. Spend some time with your horses. Bye now.